Hello and welcome to another episode of the conversion of Granny Grumman. In this episode, we'll be installing the solar system. For the solar panels, I decided to go with 10 100-watt 12-volt panels made by Rich Solar. I decided to go with these panels based on the recommendation and testing by Prowse. He has an excellent YouTube channel which covers everything you'd ever need to know about solar systems, which I'll link in the description below. The first step of the solar install is to get all the panels up on the roof of Granny Grumman and then space them out to make sure that I have adequate room to install them. Whenever you're installing solar panels, it's highly recommended that you put cardboard over them so that they don't have active power coming out of them, so this is a do as I say, not as I do situation. Now that I have a rough idea of where I'm going to install all the panels, I'll attach all the Z-brackets to make sure they're still going to fit where I think they will. By laying the Z-brackets over each other panel to panel, I was able to make up the room to get them to fit. With everything set, it's time to attach the panels. This 15/64 bit is just slightly smaller than the 1/4 20 hardware I'll use to attach the brackets to the roof. Using a slightly undersized bit means I'll have to force thread the 1/4 20 hardware into the roof, ensuring that there won't be any leaks. By adding silicone sealer to the bottom of the bracket and to the threads of the 1/4 20 hardware, I'm ensuring yet another layer of protection against leaks. With the bolts threaded into the roof and snugged down just slightly, I'll now apply more silicone sealer, a washer, a lock washer, and a nut, and then tighten them down. I ran out of time, so I woke up early the next morning and attached the other 5 panels the exact same way. I went with a series parallel wiring, which means that the 5 panels on the right are in series, the 5 panels on the left are in series, and then they're joined in parallel by this parallel branch connector. To ensure the wind doesn't whip around the cables and damage them while driving, I zip tie them to the inner frame of the solar panels. With all the wires tucked away, I can now drill 2 holes in the van so that the panels can reach the charge controller inside the van. After using a file to remove the sharp edge created by the drill bit, I'll apply silicone sealer and grommets so that there are no leaks and the wires don't get shorted out. The next step is to seal and attach the cable entry housing. Redundancy is key when it comes to preventing leaks, so I like to have as many layers as possible. After drilling 3 holes to hold down the housing with the 1/4 20 hardware, I'll go ahead and apply silicone to the grommets again, silicone to the holes that I created, and silicone to the bolts that I'm putting into the housing. Before tightening them down, I'll apply yet another layer of silicone around the edge of the housing, and then I'll apply it to the bolt heads and to the wiring. Now that the panels are attached and the wires are mostly secured, I can head into the van to finish up the job. Using a scrap piece of wood, I'll set up a temporary solar system just to make sure everything's working properly. Later on in the build, I'll have a video describing the entire electrical system, so keep your eyes out for that. The next morning, I saw that the panels were charging at 33 amps per hour and there was only 70% sun. Now with the most basic function of the solar system confirmed working, I can move on to building the inside.